Today we're going to look at a couple of tournament combinations, which just before when I was getting ready, I had a bit of a giggle to myself because our combined age is about 110 and we're doing tournament techniques, which if you think about the two fighters, their combined age is about 40.
Yeah.
So, bear with us. They're not as sharp and snappy and smooth as they should be with young men. But anyway, look, I think the rules are always the same. Angles, leverage, be deceptive. But these techniques that we'll show you based around one particular idea. So whether you're initiating or whether you're counter-punching and coming in with the combination. I have to say, I recognize that Kyokushin tournaments don't have the head punches, which it has its drawbacks, but also has its benefits, okay? And I think one of the benefits is you can fight an entire career in Kyokushin and not really get whacked in the head even as much as the average boxer or kickboxer can get whacked in a single training session. So that's the beauty of the sort of training that we do. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I might just spend a couple of minutes, first of all, looking at the notion of what we're trying to do. We're trying to be a little deceptive with the timing. Tournaments fight different ranges. We can be this range if I'm a kicker. If you're Midori, Shihan, this is your range and you're still going to knock him out cold. He just goes out and then launches. Even Narushima Shihan, when he was a tournament fighter, just sublime speed and timing. Okay, so we're not trying to kid anyone that we're competing on this level. We just want to show you a couple of ideas that perhaps you can take and experiment with. Okay, the first notion is the idea of defense and counter straight away. So I'm here, Mitch throws a punch. I need to get in the idea of defending straight away. I don't want to go defend, because it's just a matter of time before he sets me up with something. Okay, so I always want to be in the notion of hitting straight back. And that does two things. A tournament fight is not a fight. It's a display of technique arbitrated by 5 people, 4 corner judges and a referee. If you knock him out, that's a different thing. If you don't knock him out, everything you've done is down to what the referees thought and saw. Okay? So if Mitch is hitting, I'm defending, he gets the points because he's attacking. We have a saying in refereeing, defense is its own rewards. Okay, so if it came down to the wire and he's attacking, he will win the fight based on the judge's decision. So I need to always remember that I need to create an impression with the judges and the referee. And that means, countering straight away, getting into the habit. Doesn't matter what you do, we're just going to get into the habit. Whatever he does, just even if it's not powerful, just make sure whatever you do, counter straight away. We use that to also initiate the technique. I need to square up my partner. So what I do is I literally just hit with my knuckles right on the edge there where the deltoid has a little handle. That's where you're going to hit. And it's very deceptive. There's 2 things that are worth looking at. If you want to create impact and bring someone over, I hit low on the body there. But if I'm near the edge of the ring, that actually can be to their advantage because you might be driving out of the ring, you hit here, they lean forward, they change angles, and they're gone. Okay, so they know, and they could even do that. Now you've got your back to the ring and you're going out. So a good trick to remember is I hit and I hit high. When I'm near the edge of the tournament, the ring, and then hit high. See, that drives them backwards. If I hit here, it doesn't drive them backwards. Hit here, boom, it drives them backwards. The other thing that I want to look at in that respect is when I hit here, I'm squaring him up. Okay, so I'm here, and I'm hitting with a right rip. 1, 2. So I'm ripping here to the liver. I'm ripping here mainly for the spleen. Okay, but with this right hand, I want to bring it basically up the middle. We call it thread the needle. There like that. So even if his guard, you look at this angle, even if the guard is fairly narrow, what I want to do is bring it straight up the middle, just like that. See here, straight up the middle. If I come in like this, I can hit elbows, crack my hand, and not have the effect. It's different to coming in here. Okay, even here I have to time it so I don't hit the elbow. But with a right hand, I'm just going to bring it straight up the front there. The next thing is, where is your weight distribution? When I throw a left, I want to be conscious of the weight being on the left leg. And one way you can look at that, if you look at my feet, is I make sure I come up on the toes of the left leg. I'm just going to open my hand because Mitch is starting to get really annoyed with me. Just keep punching him like that. But look, I come up my toes. That puts the weight on my left leg. When I throw the right, there's a danger because my weight is on the left front foot to keep the weight on the left front foot and see the weight comes off. What I need to do is learn to sit down on the right leg here like that. So you practice that by coming in here and then actually literally trying to sit down on the leg there. Weight left for left, weight right for right. If I go weight left for left, weight left for right, the weight is going over there. There's a hole in the bucket. By that I mean you go to the dairy, you milk the cow, and there's a bunch of holes. By the time you get back to the kitchen, it's half empty because you weren't able to patch up the holes. So the first hole we need to patch up for powering the punch is make sure that my weight is solid on the right for the right. Whether it's a straight punch, overhand punch, or a rib punch, my weight is always on my right. Okay, now what we're going to do is look at a simple combination, and that's square up. Okay, move around, square up again. Then I move around, and as he comes in towards me, I do a right, and then I immediately follow that right with a knee. But I do it in such a way that the knee is hidden underneath the hand. 1, 2, like that. So when you practice it with a friend or a partner, you don't want to drive the knee into them. You actually drive the knee into the back of your own hand, like that. So we're here, square up, square punch, and then square punch, bring the knee up. I don't pull my hand off. What I do like to do is when I do it, I bring this hand back here because against sharp, flexible fighters, there's no reason why they just can't go poof with a roundhouse kick. Okay, so what I do is after I hit, I bring that hand up like this, just almost like a Jordan Uke. So we're here, 1, 2, see that? 2, and I hide the knee underneath there. 1, 2, 3, like that, okay? There, like that, okay? The other way you can use it is as a counter. So Mitch throws the punch, boom, and I just clear the punch like that. 1, 2. There's 2 ways you can clear it. The first one, go slow, Mitch, because he's so fast I can't see it. At my age, I don't have my glasses on. I can clear it by this. Take it to the outside and then hit under the heart in the spleen. 1, out, there. See, watch my hand across, and I hook it. I don't send it all the way over there. I don't have to. I just need to get it outside the line of my own punch and slide in there. 1, 2. 1, 2. The other thing you can do is take it all the way across, and as he withdraws his hand, 2 there as well. 1, 2. And that follows well with a nice thigh kick. But for now, what we're going to do is we go 1, and then from here, bring it up with a rip. 1, 2. 1, 2. Notice my weight stays on my right leg. If I land on Mitch a little bit, I can lift my left leg quite easily. But if I land on Mitch, I couldn't lift my right leg right now because my weight's on. Okay, so that's the sort of feeling you want to train for when you're doing it. There, 1, 2, 3, like that. 1, 2, 3. Remember the timing. It's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I want that knee to come up straight up under the rib so that the hand is still there. And this hand stays up. If I'm using it to push to square, I bring it back to here. Again, clear, like that. Mitch is so hard here that it's starting to hurt my knee.
You must all be rolling over laughing by now.
Okay, so that's the fundamental foundation to the combination. You're not going to win a tournament based on that alone, but that's a good foundation to start on. The next thing you want to do is add a broken rhythm sort of motion. If we had more time, we would have probably practiced it, but we're just relying on old age and guile. Yeah. Okay, so now he punches, I clear, punch, push, and then I'm going to step and finish with the thigh kick. So let's come right back here. So 1, 2, 3. There's the combination. 1, 2, 3, and then maybe the third time I do it. 1, 2, 3, and then push, and then come in with that thigh kick like that. So this knee, the hand on the chest stays there. When I put the knee down, I use it to push him. See, like that. You can go that way, or 1, 2, 3, push that way as well. So either way, it's a nice, let's go back here a little bit. Here, 1, 2, 3, see that? Okay, then what I do is I add the 1, 2, 3, I keep that hand there and push, and I do the thigh kick like that. Again, 1, 2, 3, push, and then I can go that thigh kick. Or, really got you there, didn't I?
Pretty fun.
1, 2, 3, fake the thigh, and come into the inside thigh. Or finally, 1, 2, 3, fake the thigh kick, and come up with a Jordan wash. Okay, and that can be deceptive too, because if my first combination is this, okay, then my second combination is this. Then my third combination is that again. Then my without changing my body language, 1, 2, 3, I can snap it up around the head, and it's deceptive because my body weight is moving across the target. So I'll just make sure Mitch has his hand up because it's a messy outcome if he doesn't. But 1, 2, 3, I lean away, and then your whole body weight, you see how my whole body weight fell away from it? That's where the body weight's going. It's not a flexible roundhouse kick, that sort of thing. What it is a pendulum. My upper body falls away, and the kick follows like that. If you can do that stretch that far, you can kick like this. So that's all it is. Come on. From here, 1, 2, come across, and then it comes up pretty sharply like that.
And it's a heavy kick too, because your weight's...
It's heavy because the weight's in it. The weight's actually moving into the kick. It's deceptively heavy. Okay, so there's the fundamental. The other way, of course, is I lead with the hand into the deltoid, so you can hit solar plexus. You can hit solar plexus. Then you bring that one up to the deltoid, and it squares your opponent up. Bang, and then squares up. And then fake that, come in there. See, like that? And follow it up with that timing. Bang. There, like that. The knee comes underneath the arm, so it's very hard to see, very deceptive. Boom, there, boom. Use that hand to push, and then finish with the thigh kick. Or the other way, boom. Use that hand to push. Body kick, or thigh kick, or head kick. Now remember too, if there's 2 inches between the body and the elbow, there's enough room for a body kick into the liver. You should never say no to that. Okay, so sorry about that. It's probably my wife wondering why I haven't done the dishes. My wife's expecting. She's not pregnant, she just expects me to do a lot of things around the house. Boom, 1 or 2. You can even do it that way. Clear, punch. Clear, push, punch. See, like that. It's very deceptive. There, boom, 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 boom. There. Then I change the timing, add the thigh kick on it. 1. There, like that. Or I can push thigh kick. 1, 2, 3, boom. Push them. And thigh kick like that.
Create more range for yourself.
Yes, create the correct range. And depending on their depending on their response, you can change the way you go about doing that. Okay, here we are. Us. Is that Eric G as in Eric Gunton? Oh no. Hi from California. Us. Tips for checking kicks. Tips for checking it. Let's look at that in 1 second. Hey Muzz, good to see you. Francis Gravel. Comment, mon ami? Shihan, Quinn, Mitch from Montreal. Yep. It's 01 in the morning. Dang. Okay. Good on you, Eric. Al, Les. Very distracting. Yeah, good on you. Us, Les. Hope you're well. Mike probably knows of Les from the internet. Us and say, Mike, very well. Waiting for children to wake up. Hope all's well. Good on you. Gary O'Neill is a master of the simultaneous counter and rarely threw two of the same techniques in a row. He constantly changed the attack levels and angles without changing his body. That's a really good point that you bring that up. Us, Jeff. Nice to see you. We had a rule in the dojo when you're developing combinations. Different angle, different level, different technique. Okay? And the way you can look at that, good on you, Marty. Now, the way you can look at that briefly is like this. Simply, that's a combination of one technique. Okay? That's two techniques. Okay? That's three techniques. Mitch closes his eyes, and the fourth technique he can just block any time he wants because they're all the same technique, same level, same angle. Okay, but now I do the four technique, or I just do two like this. 1, 2, or different thing. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Different level. 1, 2. Different angles. 1, 2, 3. Four technique. 1, 2, 3, and the formal way Jolamoshi. So what Chris is saying there, because Chris trained with us in the old days, Gaz, we worked on the principle of different angle, different level, different technique. You put them all together like that.
And something else that Sensei Gary did is, and Chris and I have spoken about this at length and sort of just looked at it a lot, his upper body rarely changed position or shape when he threw kicks. So you just didn't know what was coming.
Yes.
It was so unique.
Yes. There's a couple of guys that, if I could remember their names, there was one incredible fighter from South Africa. His name will come to me. And they've also, there's Mikael Söderqvist from Sweden, who is also an unbelievable fighter, one of my real heroes. And I remember in, I think, the third world tournament, may have been the second, he threw a roundhouse kick, and you could actually put sensors on his body and they wouldn't have moved a millimeter. And his upper body is there, and the kick's just gone like that and straight back down again. Bruce, if any South Africans are watching, Bruce was his first name, one of the great fighters from the First and Second World Tournament, did the same thing. His body was there, the kick was there. And I remember once, and this is just a story, kind of off topic, but anyway, I remember when Matsui Kancho, he was training for his 5th dan. He'd just come back, he'd had a couple of years off, and he was training for his 5th dan. So we were training together, and we used to go running together. And one day, after a run, we were down in the basement of Hombu, and we're sparring, boom, 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 having a good time. I'm feeling pretty good. And Matsui goes, I said, what's wrong? He said, just don't have the timing and the speed anymore. And, you know, this is one of the greatest, I think, one of the greatest Kyokushin fighters ever. Don't have the speed and timing anymore. And he said, I said, look, you know, you're just coming back after a layoff. Don't worry, you'll be fine by the grading. And anyway, the next second, I'm sparring, and then I just feel, and his body hadn't moved. It's like everything was exact. If you took a photo and then took another photo, you could put them in, I guess, the difference. Nothing had moved, but his foot had just gone and gone whack. And I looked at him and smiled, and he said, maybe I got a bit of speed left. You know, so for him, that was, you know, for me, it was amazing. But anyway, that's Matsui Kancho for you. Amazing. So anyway, look, the point is, different, like I said, between us, we could add up our years and I reckon we'd hit 110.
110, yeah.
But we're doing this for guys whose combined age is more like 40 to 50. Okay, so please don't judge us on the quality of the technique. Just understand the principle. What they're trying to say is you set up, you disguise it, and your body weight is correct. And like Chris was saying, you don't want you're much better off moving the body without big, because when you have these large motions, like I said, that's like a bucket with holes in it, you know, and the white belt starts with a bucket full of holes. Sometimes they start with a bucket with no holes and they just end up putting the holes in because of the poor way that they're training. But good training eventually will patch up those holes. Okay, and that bucket is representative of the accumulated power in your body. And you want to make sure that with the body weight correct, the technique correct, the angle correct, the position and speed and timing, they all patch up a hole in the bucket so that when that bucket full of milk arrives back at the kitchen, it's 100% on. Okay, that's really, really important. Us. Very similar through, yeah. There's more similarities and difference in all martial arts. You know, I always maintain how many martial arts are there? One. There's only one martial art. Okay, the things that make them different are different people's approach to training more than anything. I reckon if you took 100 people and put them in a room, the difference between their styles would rapidly disappear, because if their life depended on it, everyone would be doing what is most practical, I think. So I think it's valuable that there's always more similarities and different. Matus, Us, how are you? Good on you, Us. By the way, the Polish translation of the book has arrived in Poland. It's very exciting. They're starting to be delivered. So if you know anyone who's Polish, or if you are in Poland yourself, make sure you go to my website, budokarate.com, and make sure that you are able to order it in Polish. It's very exciting. And I had one of my good Polish friends, Thomas, who runs a dojo in Victoria. He read it, and actually he said that the translators have done a sensational job. It reads smoothly and all that sort of thing. It's always the fear when you have a book translated like that, you know. And thanks, Hunter. That's really kind of to give him that book. I hope he enjoys it. You should send him a link too, so I can say good day. Gary used to practice maintaining his body shape in the mirror for hours. Another thing that Gary did, what was Wally's favorite combo in a tournament? Wally had probably some of the hardest punches of his weight ever. So he didn't particularly get stuck with any one combination, but what he was particularly good at was hitting low and surprising people. He had little hands, but they hurt like hell. I mean, he won the Tameshi Wari prize at the 6 World Tournament. He equaled the world record at that time. Probably could have done more. But anyway, he would hit in the body, and then he had this beautiful roundhouse kick that would come up. Gary, of course, used to practice maintaining his body shape in the mirror, as Chris is saying. The other thing that Gary did was he actually would think completely outside the square. Most people will tell you that to generate power in a punch, you have the weight on the leg, you turn the hip, and you close the waki, and you get the power of the arm, comes in, and it channels through the hand. And there's this chain from the ground up. Gary's theory was that's very telegraphic. He spent hours doing this, where he wouldn't go power off the ground through the leg, through the hip, through the lat, through the elbow, through there like that. What he did was he would initiate the movement from his hand. So it became, he became so deceptive. And I won't mention names, but I was talking to the family of one famous Japanese fighter that Gary fought. And they said that they think they had Gary worked out. And there's 2 stories about this that's worth talking about. Their theory was Gary was a kicker. So they said, all we need to do is get inside his kicks. And then I spoke to that fighter later. Beautiful guy, famous guy. If I mention his name, 100% you know it. And he said he got inside Gary's kick, and the first time Gary punched him, he realized it was a mistake. Because Gary is a puncher. He's not a kicker. It reminds me of, there was a famous jazz musician many years ago. His name will come to me, but he used to be introduced. I remember once he was introduced at a concert, and they said, one of the great jazz singers who just happens to be the finest guitarist in the world. Gary was like that. He was a puncher who just happened to knock guys out with kicks like you wouldn't believe. And I remember when he first fought his first nationals, one of the branch chiefs, one of my senpai, came up and said, that new kid is pretty good. It's a pity he can't punch. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, he just knocked 2 guys out with head kicks. And so I said to Gary, he's run over going, oh, Sensei, how'd I go? Yeah, you did really well. But they're saying you can't punch. He goes, oh, are they? Okay. So he comes out, the next guy in about 15 seconds, ippons him with a punch. The next guy ippons him with a punch, comes back and says, oh, Sensei, can I go back to kicking now? So he could kick as well as anyone. He's most famous for his kicks, but anyone who felt the power of his punch understood that he understood body weight. Okay, and what Gary can do, anyone can do if they can apply themselves to that same level of focus and discipline. And it's physics. It's not like he was breaking any rules of physics. He just simply optimized his capacity by understanding relaxation, timing, body weight, and those sort of things. But anyway, there we have it. Good on you. Yes, Chrissy. Chris and Mitch were Uchideshi together, were you? Yep. They were Uchideshi together in my dojo in Brisbane going back how many years? 25?
25 probably.
25 years? Yeah, so they were good days. But anyway, look, guys, take that combination and play with it. Just work the timing really slowly. Just work the timing, feel it, feel it, feel it. Then you can come over the top even. Top, bang, bang. You can go bang, bang, and then back from underneath and then bring the knee up underneath like that. Remember to aim for the back of your hand so that you don't overwhelm your training partner as well.
Speaking of punches, and Gary, that's a combination he used to do a lot. He'd go over, under, and over with the same hand, and it'd be up, up, up. It was so quick. Chris and I, we used to marvel at that as well. Yeah. Just incredible.
He understood how to use his body in a way because he spent so many hours just refining movement. And he reminds me of Elon Musk. In this respect, Elon Musk will watch them do something and go, why is it that we need to use 5 screws there? Why can't we do it with 2? And the engineer will go, well, actually, if you do that, and he goes, yeah, no, I reckon 2 will do. And so they do the testing, and sure enough, he's right. Well, Gary was like that. Why do we have to go 1, 2, up, 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 up like that? He go, why can't I just put my hand there and let the body weight follow? So he was like always asking questions about how is it possible to refine, to refine, to refine. And you've got to ask yourself those same questions. Remember the 3 magic questions? What did I do well? What did I not do well? And what can I do about it? Well, that's a perfect way to approach this challenge of refinement. Okay, how can I refine my technique? You take a video of yourself. There's nothing better than to take videos of your training and you analyze it with a very, very neutral scalpel of discrimination. You have to be very, very honest with yourself. And you look at it from a third-party viewpoint and you go, yeah, no, maybe I could just relax my shoulder a bit. And if I drop that shoulder in, maybe that'll make a difference. Do this with your training and take this combination and play with it, see what works. Us, thank you. Mitch, thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Our 3rd session today. And it's always fun to train with Mitch. He's the better looking of us too. So that's what draws the millions and millions of viewers.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, fellas. Us, Sensei Mike, it's always an honor to have you here. Frederick, you too. Us, nice to see your name. I hope all's well. Next year, I'm doing a seminar tour in Europe. I'm locked in UK. Also in Europe. Train, let me know. Us, thank you. Us. There we go. Husaria Shechen. That's my good friend Shihan Radek. He's the one who's sponsoring the Seoul Kyokushin Polish National Camp next year.
Awesome.
And also, he's very kindly the one who's overseeing the distribution of the book in Poland.
So cool.
Beautiful. Good to see you, Radek. Us, everyone. Thank you very much. Us. See you next week.